Let's talk about something that hits close to home for so many of us, anxiety. It feels like such a modern problem, right? Well, today we're going to dive into an ancient playbook for dealing with it. We're going to explore how the Book of Psalms can be this incredibly practical guide to finding some real spiritual peace in the middle of the chaos.
So let me ask you this. Do you ever feel that knot in your stomach? That racing heart? And then right on top of all that, this wave of guilt washes over you for feeling that way in the first place? If that's you, I just want you to know you are so not alone. It's that awful 1-2 punch that so many people of faith experience.
And this is where it gets really tricky, right? This is the heart of the struggle. We hear these incredible commands like, be anxious for nothing, but then our bodies and our minds are just screaming with anxiety. And it's so easy for that to feel like we're failing, like there's something wrong with our faith. It creates this real tension, this battle between what we feel in our gut and what we believe in our hearts.
And let's just get one thing straight. This feeling is absolutely real. This is not just in your head. That racing heart, the thoughts that just loop and you can't turn them off, that tightness in your chest, those are real physiological responses. We have to validate that first.
So what do we do? How do we bridge that gap between our feelings and our faith? Well, this is where a little shift in perspective can change everything. What if we started looking at the Psalms not just as beautiful poems or ancient songs, but as a kind of therapy? A practice that was designed thousands of years ago, but is perfectly suited for our anxious modern minds.
Now, to really get how this works, we've got to borrow a term from psychology, cognitive distortions. It sounds complicated, but it's not. These are basically just unhealthy, untrue thoughts that our brains can get stuck on, like a broken record. And these distortions, they are the fuel that feeds the fire of anxiety.
Okay, and this is where it gets so cool. It turns out, the Psalms basically function like an ancient form of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. It's amazing. They literally model for us this process of catching those distorted, anxious thoughts and then intentionally challenging them with a bigger, more powerful truth.
And you can see this in action so clearly in Psalm 42. Look at this. The writer starts by calling out the distorted thought. He's literally talking to himself, saying, "Why are you so down? Why are you in such turmoil?" But, and this is the key, he doesn't stay there. He makes a conscious, deliberate pivot. He tells his own soul, hope in God. That right there, that's the cognitive pivot. And learning to do that is a total game changer.
So how do we actually do this? How can we make this practical? Well, the cool thing is, this isn't just theory. We can actually break it down into a super simple, memorable 3-step process that you can use right in the middle of feeling anxious.
Here are the 3 steps. It's a process I call lament, remember, and resolve. So first, you lament, you acknowledge the pain, you don't ignore it. Second, you remember, you reorient your mind to what's true. And third, you resolve, you commit to an action based on that truth. Let's walk through each one.
Okay, step 1, lament. Now this is so important because our first instinct is often to stuff it down, right? To pretend we're not feeling what we're feeling. But the psalmists, they were brutally honest with God. Just listen to the raw pain here in Psalm 13. The Psalms give us permission. They teach us that being honest about our negative feelings is actually the first step toward healing. It's not a sign of weak faith.
All right, after you've been honest about the pain, you move to step 2. Remember. This is that cognitive pivot we were just talking about. After you've said, I am afraid, you make a conscious choice to remember what is actually true about God. Psalm 56 gives us the perfect script for this. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. This is the moment of intervention, where you actively replace the lie of your fear with the truth of your faith.
And finally, we get to step 3, resolve. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the action step. You're not just thinking a new thought, you're deciding to act on it. You resolve to praise, to trust, to bless God anyway, in spite of how you feel. Just like in Psalm 34, you make a conscious decision that praise will be on your lips no matter what.
Now that 3-step process is incredible for working through general anxiety. But what about those moments when it's not just a wave of anxiety, but a full-on tidal wave? A panic attack, where you feel like you can't even think straight. For that, we need a different kind of tool, something for right in the moment.
You see, when a panic attack hits, your body is just flooded with adrenaline. Your brain basically thinks you're being chased by a tiger. You're in fight or flight mode, and logic just goes right out the window. In that moment, what you need more than anything is a grounding technique to calm your body down and give your mind something solid to hold on to.
And we can actually use scripture for that too. Try this, a 5-5-5 breathing prayer using Psalm 23. It's really simple.
You just breathe in slowly for 5 seconds while thinking, "The Lord is my shepherd." Then you gently hold that breath for 5 seconds, meditating on, "I shall not want." And then you exhale slowly for 5 seconds with the thought, "He restores my soul." See what that does? It combines the proven physical benefit of deep breathing with a powerful, anchoring spiritual truth.
So, what does all of this add up to for you? Well, it means we can start weaving this ancient wisdom right into our modern lives. It means we can stop seeing our faith as a source of guilt when it comes to anxiety and start seeing it for what it is, our most powerful, profound resource for finding peace. So let's just recap the big takeaways here. First, your feelings of anxiety are valid, full stop. Second, the Psalms give us this incredible model for how to pivot from fear to truth. Third, this whole process isn't just wishful thinking. It's both spiritually deep and psychologically sound. And finally, you now have practical, scripture-based tools you can pull out of your toolkit for even the toughest moments.
So I want to leave you with this to really think about. Knowing all this now, what is one truth, maybe from the Psalms, maybe from somewhere else, that you can decide right now to hold on to in your next moment of anxiety? What truth is going to be your anchor?